Scripture tells you that in these last days, as things start to get crazy, man is going to worship the creation more than the Creator. When He comes back in that vesture dipped in blood, and on it, His name is the Word of God, Yeshua. His name is the Word of God.
What is Cern going to do? Is to allow humanity to produce pounds of antimatter.
If you were real studied, you'd know the famine is coming. When? Now? Why does He tell you there's going to be a famine? Not for food and water, but for the hearing of the Word of God. Lucifer is given the power to come with all signs, lying signs and wonders.
And then it is brought into this world. When they produce it attracts things from another dimension coming here. What is Cern going to do? They can begin to alter reality as we know it.
And they shall be given into His hand until the time and times and the dividing of time.
Good evening and welcome to our viewers in the West. It is hard to believe, but we're witnessing the clock turning backwards. We're witnessing the clock turning backwards.
For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. And they shall be given into his hand until the time and times and the dividing of time. And think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand. And think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand.
The coming of the lawless one is according to the working of Satan, with all powers and lying signs and wonders, and with all unrighteous deception among those who perish, because they did not receive the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this reason, God will send them strong delusion, that they should believe the lie, that they all may be condemned who did not believe the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness.
And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until the time and times and the dividing of time. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until the time and times and the dividing of time.
There is, if you will, an electromechanical means of penetrating the veil, and that's where Cern comes in. And what I want for you to do at this time is just talk about Cern.
Okay.
Background it a little bit, And let's talk about what you see when you walk up to the main headquarters of Cern, that famous statue.
Sure, yeah. So sitting right outside of the main headquarters is the god Shiva,
Yes.
which is the Hindu god of destruction. This is the god that destroys everything at the molecular level and then recomposes it.
This is the God that destroys everything at the molecular level and then recomposes it. This is the God that destroys everything at the molecular level and then recomposes it.
Sitting right outside of the main headquarters is the god Shiva,
Yes.
which is the Hindu god of destruction. This is the god that destroys everything at the molecular level and then recomposes it, puts it back together. And actually the prophecies around Shiva is that he will put it back together and give birth to a new world order, to a new golden age, right? So it's very reminiscent of that Apollyon prophecy that is on the Great Seal. And of course, we know that the day is coming where Abaddon is going to rise. And it's interesting that the role that he plays in relationship to the coming Antichrist, the king of the world for a short period of time, because Paul says to Timothy that the Antichrist is the son of perdition. And the Greek word there, perdition, is Apollyon, Apollo, right?
Apollo.
Revelation 17:8, the beast will rise up out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition, Apollyon, Apollo.
And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon.
So this Abaddon character, this spirit of Abaddon, is going to rise up and take its place, incarnation of some kind, demonic, almost like a blasphemy of the resurrection of Christ, right? A second coming, but a dark second coming. And he will play the role for a period of time as Antichrist. Now, you asked me about Cern and you asked me about the Large Hadron Collider. They literally are trying to make contact with those that they believe exist on the other side of a dimensional veil.
Sort of a hyper-technical method of sorcery or of mediumship, if you will, trying to move into the realm of a spirit world. The geographic location, that's kind of important because it seems to be located over an ancient site of some sort. Also, some distance away is a tunnel that was recently in the news called the Gothard Base Tunnel, and there was a ceremony there. Let's talk about some of these things.
Yeah, so Cern, the location of Cern is right up on the Swiss border with France. And it was built literally over the top of an ancient temple to the god Apollo. In fact, the ancient name for that very location is called Apolliacum, basically the tomb of Apollo, the home of Apollo. And they believe that this was built, the Romans believe this set over the top of the Abyssos, the abyss, the underworld, or what the book of Revelation might call the bottomless pit,
Absolutely, yeah.
And that Abaddon, Apollo, was down inside there, the king of this underworld location. They built the Large Hadron Collider so much over the top of it, they actually had to stop during construction to let archaeologists come in to remove some of the debris from that ancient temple. So that by itself was very interesting. Not far from there, you mentioned the Gothard Tunnel.
Put this together with Cern.
Yes.
What I want people to understand is there are powerful leaders in the world. They are begging Lucifer to come out of the abyss. But they're calling for Lucifer to come out of the abyss. Listen to me, people. Satan's church is calling for their God to come into the world. Lucifer's people are beseeching him. They're carrying out demonic rituals. They're drilling holes into the center of the earth to release him from the abyss. They want him to come onto the surface of the planet. It is called the tribulation. It's going to happen soon. And you're not going to be raptured and taken away before these things happen. This is why Jesus said, if the days were not shortened, no flesh would survive. This is why Jesus said, if the days were not shortened, no flesh would survive. This is why Jesus said, if the days were not shortened, no flesh would survive. We cannot even comprehend the depth of the wickedness that's going to be turned loose on the planet. Do you have any idea, Edward, what this woman is?
She's singing a very old song. It's a mix between Italian and ancient Germanic.
That's what I was going to say. It's a dialect that only the Luciferians know.
And then we go back, ancient Germanic was used during a time when Germany was conquered by paganism, by ancient animal worship and nature worship, which is what we're seeing currently on the screen. We're now seeing people come out with branches in hand and draped like old
you see the old priests, the old animalistic priests that are on the screen?
This is raw paganism.
Druids.
Well, what is that woman? Like she's wearing antlers.
Antlers on her head.
Antlers.
Yeah.
And these people, these dignitaries are sitting there in the audience watching this.
Well, that lady looks very scared. One of the ladies right there, you look in the audience, she's baffled by what she's seeing right now.
She must be the only Christian there.
And just a reminder, Merkel is there. Who else is there?
Francois Hollande from France, the Prime Minister of Italy.
The Swiss president.
Yeah, this is very pagan right now. This is like right out of the history books of paganism. It's coming fast. This is coming really fast. The end of days is staring us in the face. And look, the clock is now, this is weird because I'm talking about the end of days, and now there's a giant clock on the video screen on the stage in Switzerland. And it's clearly they're telling us something about time. And it's clearly they're telling us something about time.
And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. And they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time.
Clearly they're telling us something about time.
The tunnel had been under construction for over 17 years. They finally got all the way through the mountain. But, you know, the leader of Germany, the leader of France, all these countries came together. And it is one of the most, well, let me just be frank, one of the most demonic things I've ever seen in the world. They have a giant screen that is depicting a portal, a doorway, right? And at one time it even seems to show the arms. It's interesting. It's like an artistic mix of the arms from Shiva, you know, the multi-arms of Shiva doing the cosmic dance, and the atlas coming up out of Cern, the different arms off Cern. Somebody mixed those two together to illustrate the cosmic dance that's happening at Cern. So they tied this tunnel ceremony into what's going on at Cern, but then they started showing what's coming up. A giant awakens, right? And this giant starts moving up from under the underworld. With him are Cernunos and the goat-headed demons and the three-faced goddesses like Hecate of ancient times. They're literally depicting all of the ancient gods being invited to come through this doorway. Well, then soon these actors illustrate that they've made it through the doorway. Now they're in our reality, and there's a goat-headed man. He's having, copulation with a woman in a red dress. We know where this comes from out of the book of Revelation, right? Out of that is born another goat-headed entity that then becomes the king of all of earth, and all of the people at the end of it are bowing down and worshiping this king that came through this doorway, this portal, this goat-headed entity. Well, it's very, very satanic. Yet, if you think about, you know, the other part of what we're doing here is we're talking about literal Bible prophecy, that this day is going to come, right? This Antichrist, Apollyon, this entity is going to reemerge on the world scene. And when you think of that, and then you pause for a moment and you think about the spirit of the age, how all over the United States right now, Satan clubs are opening on children's grade school public grounds. Right here in Oklahoma, you've had an effort for them to want to erect a Baphomet, satanic statue, on public grounds.
The goat-headed demon.
Another thing people can Google and YouTube and watch is a satanic sacrifice actually conducted by Cern employees back behind the gate, where you have to have a pass to even get in back there, in front of the Shiva statue, black hooded individuals walking out. A woman walks out, lays down, a guy sticks a knife down into her heart, and the guy with the camera starts freaking out, Now, Cern investigated it, and they admitted that it was their own employees that had conducted this, but they said it was just a parody. It was not real. Nobody really died. The point for me was all high-level Satanists know those are the instruments that you use to make an invitation for supernaturalism to enter into your plane of existence.
And it all comes back to Revelation 9. As you're talking, I'm just thinking back, and Revelation 9:2 says, by the way, it talks about an angel coming down to earth, and he opened the bottomless pit, and with a key, by the way. And the interesting thing about the bottomless pit, if you go to the Greek, which I have done and studied that, it means the well shaft of the abyss. In other words, the Greek word is describing not just a pit as we would think of an open pit, but rather a tunnel. The tunnel to the abyss. Now, this idea of a tunnel leading to another, if you will, dimension is very much at the heart of Cern.
Oh, and at physics, the heart of physics. Einstein talked about it, an Einstein-Rosen bridge, being able to travel through a wormhole. Einstein also, some of the Greek implication there from bottomless implies boundless, and this is all Einstein's theory of time. If you travel far enough, because time is circular, you travel far enough through time, you're going to wind up right back at the beginning, right? It's the ancient Ouroboros, the serpent eating his tail, that there is no end to it, and that's what's partly implied here. So imagine that in the book of Revelation, we're actually talking about a high level of physics.
And it's funny how physics is merging with the occult, and it has been for some time now. What value is there to the Christian in knowing this stuff? That is, in understanding what's going on in the world today.
We need to understand spiritual warfare. We need to know how to pray and what to pray about and why we would pray, right? We need to know that there is an anti-Christian spirit that is moving towards Abaddon ascending, that the spirit is alive in the world today.
Well, we wouldn't be talking about this today if it weren't for the fact that we live in a wicked and evil world in which people are trying to short-circuit their way to spiritual grandeur. They don't want to go through God. They don't want to go through the Lord Jesus Christ. They want to create their own system. And the Bible is full of this. That is, from one end of the Bible to the other, there are those groups of people who attempt illegally to enter the vaults of power, and God destroys them one after another. And the next great destruction of these people is seen in the book of Revelation.
Right. Well, and also this idea, this quest to open a doorway. I've thought for some time that this is like the most overlooked aspect of end times prophecy, is connected literally to the opening of the gates of the earth. Revelation 9 is one of them. Isaiah 13, where he talks about the area around Babylon, open the gates, ye ruler, I give command, and I bring them. Giants are coming to fulfill my wrath. So the earth is more dynamic than the average person ever thinks about. I mean, we go out to get in our car to drive to Walmart. The last thing on my mind is I'm driving over a crust under which there are supernatural entities. I'm not thinking about this, right?
That's right.
And yet, exactly how the Bible describes the earth itself, inside which there is Sheol, Hades.
us this day our daily bread. And forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
After this manner therefore pray ye, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven.
Thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven.
Thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven.
Revelation 17:8, the beast will rise up out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition, Apollyon, Apollo. The beast will rise up out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. The beast will rise up out of the bottomless pit.
The Book of Enoch, chapter 80, verse 2 and 3. And in the days of the sinners, the years shall be shortened, and their seed shall be tardy on their lands and fields. And all things on the earth shall alter, and shall not appear in their time. And the rain shall be kept back, and the heaven shall withhold it. And in those times the fruits of the earth shall be backward, and shall not grow in their time, and the fruits of the trees shall be withheld in their time. The years shall be shortened, and their seed shall be tardy on their lands and fields. And all things on the earth shall alter, and shall not appear in their time. and the rain shall be kept back, and the heaven shall withhold it. And in those times the fruits of the earth shall be backward. And in those times the fruits of the earth shall be backward. Woe unto you who cause wickedness, who boast and honor false words. You are lost, and you have no life of good things. Woe unto you who alter the words of truth, and pervert the eternal law. They reckon themselves not guilty of sin. They shall be trampled on upon the earth. In those days, be ready, you righteous ones, to raise up your prayers as a memorial, and place them as a testimony before the angels, and they, the angels, shall bring the sins of the sinners for a memorial before Yahweh, the Most High. Woe unto you who alter the words of truth, and pervert the eternal law.
There's a video called Happy at Cern that the folks at the US LHC uploaded to YouTube in November of 2014. It's getting some play because folks are seeing a connection to the Mandela Effect. And so they should. You don't have to be Einstein to see this as incriminating evidence and admission that they're responsible. We're not the first ones to give this some attention, but we're going to go deeper into the symbolism, shining more light in the darkness to bring their shadowy agendas into view. Here's the most interesting bit.
If you feel like that's what you want to do, bring me down, can't none bring me down, 'cause love is too high to bring me down, can't none bring me down. I said, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof.
All through the video, people are dancing to the song Happy by Pharrell Williams. There's a few flying and spinning stunts with green screen special effects, but this guy in the messy office stands out like a sore thumb. What's going on here? Bottom line, it's a song and dance routine. This song and dance is intended to deceive, to mislead. It's an evasive ploy, a distraction, misdirection. We are happy at Cern. Okay, but look at the other signs. He's got placards hanging around his neck. On number 1, and Mandela. His shirt has math on it, which is a clue. It means do the math, solve the equation. On the wall poster, there's a big piece of a jigsaw puzzle. It means there's a puzzle here, find the pieces and put it together. In the James Bond franchise, the first actor to play the role of Bond was Barry Nelson in 1954. The orange sign says Mandela. Do the math. Barry Nelson plus Mandela equals Barry Nelson Mandela. The phenomena that has become known as the Mandela Effect is named for the former president of South Africa, Nelson Mandela. Many people remember that he died in the early 80s when he was in prison. Yet somehow all the evidence suggests that he got out of prison and lived until 2013. This guy is doing his version of the song and dance routine with a sign. We are happy at Cern. The @ symbol is a sign that tells us that they know how to use symbols. He covers his face with it. He gestures with it as his contribution to the song and dance routine. It's providing cover, not so much for his face, but for the real meaning of what's going on. It's not just cover for the scene, and we know this because what's written on the sign tells us that the meaning of the entire video is hidden and revealed. The guy is playing peekaboo, a game you play with infants. Now you see him, now you don't. Isn't this the way of the Mandela Effect? One day it's mirror, mirror on the wall, and the next day it's magic mirror on the wall. Peekaboo. Folks, we're being mocked. See all the piles of paper? Really, who has an office like that? It's part of the set design. Think of how the Mandela Effect deals with a collection of memories, like a stack of papers in a collection of documents. Some bound, some unbound. They're in the business of shuffling memories around like documents in big piles. The sight of such a mess and the obvious potential there is for piles to topple over raises stress in many people. This is one of the results of the Mandela Effect, which is really stressing a lot of people out. There's more symbols here, and we're going to keep exposing them. But do you see how this is an admission that they're responsible for the effect without them actually coming right out and saying it? Here's a little scene where they're dancing all over and around code 33.
If you feel like happiness is the truth, like happiness is the truth, like happiness is the truth.
The number 33 is a big deal, and not just to the Freemasons. Notice the other emergency vehicle is signaling the mirroring of fire. As above, so below. Fire is one of the 4 elements honored with its watchtower or guardian when a magic circle is cast for the performance of a ritual. As we play through the context of this scene with the firemen, you'll see how this is part of the ritual casting of a magic circle. Witches cast a circle beginning with air, and so we see a man flying through the air. Fire comes next, then water, then the earth, and the circle is cast. They show us one of the circles of the LHC as the magic circle. To show us the water, they do some charades with a group waving their arms, then a woman making a wave. We see big tanks and lots of the color blue. I think they obfuscate the water sequence and extend it because water is a symbol of time, and that's really what they're hiding. Here's a screenshot from 3 minutes and 30 seconds. That's a 33 on the counter. Player 1, Player 2. Do you think we're being played? The video ends a few seconds later. Game over? Is that why they're so happy, because they think it's game over? The score showing is rather one-sided. You have to admit, with the reality of the Mandela Effect, it looks like their boast is legit. However, this game over bit they're dancing all over, it ain't over till it's over, and it ain't over yet. There are some other symbols in this commercial that should really speak to you about what's going on here. See this design on the pillow? It's called a mandala. These designs are used for meditative purposes, for attaining altered states of consciousness for the purpose of establishing a connection with the divine, which is to say, entering into communion with demons. Mandala. Think Mandela, like Nelson Mandela, and the Mandela Effect. This phenomenon that has become known as the Mandela Effect has captured a lot of people's attention, but most have no idea really what to make of it. This mandala design on the pillowcase is a message. Let it speak to you in the context. The Mandela Effect is a demonstration of the power to turn back time, to manipulate history itself. These sci-fi channel producers are literally magicians who are practicing ritual magic through the embedding of time codes and occult symbols, even a form of time magic. It's about the power to turn back time, which is the whole premise of the commercial. We refer to magic and time magic. This is Cern's deal, which gives homage to the horn god invoked during ceremonial magic. Cern knows. What is the technology behind it? Is it due to the dark matter? Is it due to the counter-rotating fields of energy as the energetic particle beams ring around the ancient temple dedicated to Apollo? Time itself is being toyed with, and this is the game changer. So, they have some way to influence and manipulate present reality. How would such an effect be managed? The historical facts manipulated and even matter itself altered in the past. It's the alchemy of science magic. Manipulating reality is what magicians do. This guy who's covering his eyes with the sign may be some kind of scientist, but he's also practicing the art of deception. Those responsible for the production are adepts in the arts of the master magician's book of lies. The sign with the @ symbol is being moved along a path, pulling it to the side and back to cover his face a few times, then he moves it down. All the while his right hand is held stationary, signaling thumbs up. The relative motion of the hands highlights the contrast. This gesturing signals that he's on the left-hand path, which is to say, following the occult Luciferian way. It also speaks of a knowing that he's not being straight up, that while on one hand he's giving us the impression that it's all good, that this all should have our approval, and that we should be happy like everybody at Cern. But on the other hand, they're really going down the left-hand path, pursuing secret and magical agendas. They're subterfuge. Their activities are subversive. They're cloaked for a reason. Their science is there for the operation of magicians. Instead of dancing around, this guy is just sitting on his butt, keeping it covered. Everyone else is grooving to the beat of Pharrell Williams, pouring their energy into this. It's hard to resist. Magically, this is an energy-raising ritual, and you can be assured that this is being magically harnessed for a specific intention. Did you notice that as soon as the math magician appears, the music changes? This part of the song is known as the bridge. They set this up on purpose to leverage the bridging as part of the occult scheme. After the math magician scene where we're so cleverly not told about the Mandela Effect, the bridge continues and we see a guy spinning around against the backdrop of several scenes at Cern. From one perspective, he's a victim of mind control programming, placed into the happy state, the trance state through ritual sodomy. He's spinning out of control while he's being programmed through space and time. Nothing can hold him down. He's gone over the rainbow, fallen down the rabbit hole. In the context of the Mandela Effect, his spinning through space and time is allegorical. His life has been impacted in such a way that he has no more anchor to the past. He's lost his connection to reality because his memory can no longer be trusted. Why the bridge? A bridge is for spanning across to get you from one place to another. Where are they taking us? That's a question that needs to be asked. They're demonstrating that they can take us over a bridge. Where are we going? The song offers a hint in the line, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. We know what this means. This message is being sent in a lot of ways and it's getting very familiar. The folks responsible for Cern are illumined, Luciferian. They're going for the big win, to break through the glass ceiling, to use another one of their expressions. Their intention, scientifically and magically, is to break out of the constraints of this mortal coil in this space-time dimension. They're going after the mastery of space and time.
It's the answer that led those who've been told for so long by so many to be cynical and fearful and doubtful about what we can achieve, to put their hands on the arc of history and bend it once more toward the hope of a better day. To put their hands on the arc of history and bend it once more toward the hope of a better day. To put their hands on the arc of history and bend it once more toward the hope of a better day.
Game over? Is that why they're so happy, because they think it's game over? The score showing is rather one-sided. You have to admit, with the reality of the Mandela Effect, it looks like their boast is legit. However, this game over bit they're dancing all over, it ain't over till it's over, and it ain't over yet.
To put their hands on the arc of history and bend it once more toward the hope of a better day.
The folks responsible for Cern are illumined, Luciferian. They're going for the big win, to break through the glass ceiling, to use another one of their expressions. Their intention, scientifically and magically, is to break out of the constraints of this mortal coil and this space-time dimension. They're going after the mastery of space and time.
To put their hands on the arc of history and bend it once more toward the hope of a better day.
Preview. Preview.
And then it's bought into this world. When they produce it, it attracts things from another dimension coming here. What is Cern going to do? They can begin to alter reality as we know it.
To put their hands on the arc of history and bend it once more toward the hope of a better day.
And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. And they shall be given into his hand until the time and times and the dividing of time.
It's been a long time coming, but tonight, change has come to America.
Ray Sherman has a song called Black Beatles, in which they pay homage to the original group, the Beatles. We know that the original group, the Beatles, were practitioners of occult magic who idolized Aleister Crowley and flashed the 666 and devil horns hand signals in display of their allegiance to Satan. The scarab beetle in ancient Egypt was a symbol of Khepri, the early morning manifestation of the sun god Ra. Thus, Khepri, or the black beetle, is also the sun god Ra, or Horus, as depicted with the one eye centered in the pyramid. His name derived from Kepher, meaning to develop or come into being. It should also be noted that the black beetle is a comic book supervillain who is affiliated with a group called the Time Stealers. He appears as a black scarab beetle and he can travel through time. This connects the black beetle with the sun god, the devil coming into being, the alteration of time.
Sunshine? Have you,
Oh, like you don't know what it is. You don't know what that is.
I have no idea.
You don't know. Jimmy Fallon doesn't know. David Letterman doesn't know.
We don't know.
All the comics and show business don't know what this is. Right? Yeah.
What is it?
Come on, Jimmy. Seriously, the time is up. People are hip to this kind of stuff. I'm here tonight to blow the lid off it, to be the whistleblower. I'm sick and tired of the secrets and the lies. It is the secret symbol of the Illuminati, and you're a part of it, and it is the all-mocking tongue. The all-mocking tongue. The all-mocking tongue.
Oh. I like it. It is a scraping.
It's the symbol of the all-mocking tongue.
But even if our gospel is veiled, it is veiled to those who are perishing, whose minds the God of this age has blinded, who do not believe, lest the light of the gospel of the glory of Christ, who is the image of God, should shine on them.
Is it a 1 in 12 probability of us being swallowed up by a black hole or something else?
You see, it will take a while. It won't swallow the Earth within months or seconds. It will take at least 5 years. But still, such an outlook is something that should be discussed heavily before going ahead. And this discussion, which needs 1 week among scientists across the world, could be done, and I think has to be done.
You did just hear what was said in this interview. A 1 out of 12 chance. That's 8% chance. And the good news is, once it gets started, it would probably take at least 5 years for it to swallow the whole Earth.
We're talking about the Higgs decaying, but what does that even mean? So stop for a second and ask the question, what is a decay? So at the LHC, we collide protons. Protons get close together, they interact, and then we create a Higgs boson. But this Higgs boson doesn't live for very long. So it lives for something like 10 to the minus 23 seconds or something like that. That's basically nothing. And what that means is that it immediately splits into other particles. So you ask the question, can the Higgs boson decay to dark matter? And the answer is yes. The Higgs boson can decay to dark matter. So you ask the question, can the Higgs boson decay to dark matter? And the answer is yes. The Higgs boson can decay to dark matter.
Right now, 100 meters below us, superconducting magnets, just like these, are doing the heavy lifting required to get these proton beams to bend around the 27-kilometer tunnel and allow them to get up to almost the speed of light and to 13 TeV, which is the highest energy that humans have ever used in a collider experiment. So what are we looking for? Things like dark matter, dark energy. What are we looking for? Things like dark matter, dark energy, supersymmetry, quantum black holes, large extra dimensions. But really, we're just pushing the boundaries of human knowledge. We don't know what we're going to find at 13 TeV at the LHC.
Problems about Cern. I know everybody's waiting on this. What could potentially happen from this? Well, they had another discovery that dark matter causes other pieces of dark matter that they have contained to react. In other words, if you have a container, say you had a teaspoon of dark matter, and let's just say you had it in Pennsylvania, and somebody else had that same a teaspoon of dark matter in California, then as soon as the teaspoon of dark matter is exposed to the elements in Pennsylvania, it causes the dark matter in California to begin to activate. In other words, you lose containment in one place, containment in another place is going to be lost. It's going to be lost. So they're intimately tied together. Now, we've covered the fact that people have the signatures of the energy of dark matter in them and matter. So they contain both matter and antimatter, in a sense, the signature of energy. They're not put together. It's just that signature. And we draw upon those based upon our thoughts and what's in our minds and what's in our hearts, in a sense. With Cern, as they begin to collide these protons, dark matter is going to be produced in great numbers. I mean, in greater and greater numbers. Not only the matter, but the energy signature is going to also be released into this realm. You know what that's going to cause? It's going to cause the dark energy signature within people to begin to activate more and more. You see, it's going to become difficult for people to stay contained or controlled. In essence, they're going to become violent. They're going to have vivid dreams. The darkness within a person is absolutely going to begin to surface. And this is not theoretical. This is not some theory somebody thought of. This is absolutely 100% quantifiable, and it's happened before. It's going to happen in greater numbers this time.
Genesis 6:11. The earth also was corrupt before God. The dark matter was out of control. The earth itself was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. And so God saw he had to do something. He had to cleanse it, recreate it. He had to fix it. Okay? So, and we know that there were giants in the land before and after the flood. So it's happened before. Violent entities, violent, murderous, barbaric. That's what I was wondering, is we seem to be becoming more barbaric than the medieval times. I mean, it's like, we didn't learn anything. What you're saying is that it's part of the nature of man is manifesting. The radical cells, it's almost like cancer cells, you know. They say we all have cancer cells, it's something activates them, and then they start to run wild and destroy in the saying that this kind of stuff, the zombie apocalypse thing, where people run around superhuman strength, biting on people, murdering, just crazy stuff is going to, you're saying we're going to see more and more, and that Cern, and so if I said this, CERN's opening the doors of hell. CERN's opening a portal to the dark side. CERN is letting loose the dark matter. That's basically what you're saying.
Yes, and it will take effect. That's also been weaponized. Nobody knows this. You have a weapon concerning dark matter that they can put within a country or a specific place to cause chaos. It's a weapon. They've used it before. They can unleash this, and it can cause chaos anywhere they want chaos to be rampant.
When you get right down to it, it comes down to a spiritual battle. And mankind is learning how to use demonic spirits as weapons. That's what you're saying. I mean, I don't know if they realize that. They know it's manipulating people. They know it sends a manipulating force and creates people. It causes people to react in the ways they do. But they're coming up with a weapon of darkness, a demonic weapon.
Yes, they are. They found the force that holds the dark energy or the dark matter away from this realm. They call it the wall. There's another name for that. A name of which that those particles they're going to find, they found part of it. They're going to find the other pieces that are in that wall. And when they find the other pieces to this wall, they will then be able to undo that wall. There's another name for that wall. They call it the veil. They found out what's holding back the dark energy because it would be absolutely destructive if the two met. But they found out, now with this as a weapon, there is no counter weapon to this. The psychological effects on people is going to become quite evident. And I know that people will come under some strange attacks, some strange occurrences and incidences. I know that the only way they can be protected from such things is their belief in our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. You can't fake it. There is no substitute. People know if a person is real or not because they emit a different energy. That energy is that wall that this other realm cannot breach. It can't breach it. And it's absolutely going to take effect. The collider, think of a collider as hundreds of nuclear explosions taking place within 1 second. They're containing it. It goes beyond fusion. It's in a realm by itself when they collide protons. They are going to find these particles, and within months, they're going to put into motion what we talked about today, and people are going to feel these effects. And then this other realm is going to begin to spill over in multiple places everywhere. Violence will increase.
The long-term effect over the next several months, the impact upon the human race and how it's going to a people, and the remedy for this, the only remedy for this, is Jesus Christ. The only remedy, the only protection, the only authority over this dark matter is to be walking in the light. And the light is, of course, the light of God. You know, God, the Bible says God is light, and in Him is no darkness at all. I've read that verse 1,000 times and thought to myself, well, that's pretty simple. God just has no darkness. No. What you're saying is there's a lot into that one verse. He's completely extracted himself from the dark matter. He's completely isolated himself from the dark matter, and the dark matter cannot touch him. And the only way you're going to be able to defeat this, because we're still in a fallen state. You know, we're still sinners saved by grace. I mean, we're still mortals. There's none of us righteous, no, not one, because Paul said, that which I would do, I do not, that's what I do not, that I do. So in other words, we're dealing with the flesh. We're constantly in a warfare.
You know, in this time that's coming, which is coming quickly, I mean, like within weeks, people are going to be thrust into, they're going to have ideas and things that they didn't think they had. Now, some people may say, well, you know, all my thoughts are my own. Then why would God say, take captive your thoughts? Why would he say that? Why would he say, die to your flesh daily? Why would he say the flesh and the spirit war continuously? Why are those things said? Because we have the power to overcome our own flesh, because the darkness in this world is about to be pulled out of everything. Everything with darkness in it. That darkness is about to surface in a way that no one ever forecasted or thought possible, but it's absolutely going to take place.
A 1 in 12 probability of us being swallowed up by a black hole, or something else?
It will take a while. It won't swallow the Earth within months or seconds. It will take at least 5 years.
A 1 out of 12 chance. That's 8% chance. And the good news is, once it gets started, it would probably take at least 5 years for it to swallow the whole Earth.
So what are we looking for? Things like dark matter, dark energy.
This game over bit, they're dancing all over. It ain't over till it's over, and it ain't over yet.